Hi, everyone. I'm Jennie Nash. I'm here to talk about book coaching. This is an introduction to what book coaching is all about. A lot of times people have never heard that term. And by the time they are finished learning about what a book coach is, they're either thinking, wait a second, that's my dream job, or they're thinking, I need a book coach my own self. So I'm hoping that by the end of my presentation, you're going to have one of those two reactions. If nothing else, you're going to know what a book coach is and what they do. So I've got some slides to share, and I'm going to take us to those now. And the first thing we're going to talk about is who am I? I'm Jennie Nash. I'm the founder and CEO of Author Accelerator. We're a book coaching company. We train book coaches to help writers with one-on-one help while they write. They give feedback, accountability, and support to writers. It's a fantastic side gig for a writer who wants to add an income stream to their writing life. It is a fantastic full-time career for some people, like my own self. I have been a book coach for 10 years now and have helped a great number of writers make their dreams come true in the publishing universe. It's amazing, soulful, satisfying work, and I love it so much. I'm the creator of Author Accelerator's Advanced Book Coach Training and Certification Program, which is the mechanism by which we train and certify book coaches. I'm also the author of, I'm the author of 9 books in 3 genres. 6 of those books were published by Big 5 publishers, and 3 I have self-published myself, including this new one, which is Read Books All Day and Get Paid for It, the business of book coaching. And at the end of this presentation, I have a link for you guys to get this book for free. You can grab it and read it and get into the nitty-gritty of actually how to run a book coaching business and what it looks like. And it's very nuts and bolts about what it's like, and I think you will really like that. So today we're going to talk about what is a book coach. Then we're going to talk about where book coaching came from, because it is a new thing. If you haven't heard from about it, it's because it has emerged in the changing publishing landscape. We're going to talk about the specific skills you need to be an effective book coach. And then the big question everybody always wants to know is, can you make money at it? The answer is, spoiler alert, yes. So let's get to it. What is a book coach? So everybody knows what an editor does. An editor comes in and works with a writer when they're finished with a draft, and they swoop in to help make that work better. Being edited is an amazing thing as a writer. I love it, and I love that intense attention on the work. It is an excellent thing to have done. It is an excellent thing to be. Editing is awesome. It is not the same as book coaching. Ghostwriting, we all know what that is as well. It's when a writer wants a book in the world and they want someone else to write it. They want to hand it off to somebody else. And obviously, ghostwriting is an awesome thing for those people who need it or want it, and those people who do it. So book coaching is really different than these two things, because the writer wants a book, they desperately want to learn to write it themselves, and they want guidance throughout the process. So let's break that down a little bit to see why it's so different from the things we might know about editing or ghostwriting. So the key things here are that the writer wants to learn to write the book themselves. They want to raise their own voice. They want to tell their own story. They want to be the one to put the words on the page themselves, and they want to learn how to do that. And book coaches are in the business of teaching writers how to write better, how to write the actual book they're writing better, but how to improve their writing overall, because we're giving constant feedback while they write. And the other key point here is that the writer is looking for guidance throughout the entire process. So that's a huge point as well. They're not just looking for it after the draft is done, they're looking for it all the way through the creative process. So what that means is that a book coach is an editor. We're also a project manager. We're helping people hit their goals and their milestones on the roadmap for getting that project finished in a timely manner. We're a sounding board for ideas, for what's working, for what's not, and brainstorming and how to fix problems and how to make that book as good as it can be. We're a teacher, so we might teach how to write better dialogue, how to write a better scene ending, how to engage the reader, how to make sure your book has a resolution that is going to pay off emotionally. We're teaching all along at every step of the way. We're a guide. We're guiding the writer toward their goals. We're guiding them into a process that's going to work for them. And we're for sure a cheerleader and giving people that emotional support and that you can do it feedback all the time, because you guys all know writing can be lonely. It can be full of doubt. And it is just so great to have somebody by your side while you're writing, holding your hand in the trenches with you. So those are some of the things that a book coach is, and many more. Book coaches help with every genre. I personally coach a great number of genres, both fiction and nonfiction, and we help at every stage of the book development process, which means we might help at the stage of idea generation. So that's at the very beginning, when you're just trying to figure out what your book is and how it's going to work and how it's going to flow and what the structure is going to be. We help with structural design, what the shape of the book is going to be, how it's going to be told, how it's going to unfold on the page. We help when the writer's actually writing the book, and with that process of getting the words down, getting them done, not getting off track of what the goal of that book is. We help at the revision stage, and that can be a straight up revision when somebody's come to the end of their draft and they want to make it better. It can be a revision that's a rescue revision where, oh no, this book is not working. Its readers are not, being engaged with it. It's not selling. Something's wrong. Can you help me figure it out? We also help with writers who are interested in pitching in the traditional publishing marketplace, and we help with marketing to various degrees. It depends on the book coach. It depends on the genre. For example, if I'm helping somebody with a nonfiction book proposal, I'm deep in the business of helping them with marketing and figuring out how are they going to engage their reader, specifically once they get into the marketplace. So the sorry, just looking to move my slide here. So a book coach guides the entire creative process. I like to say that I'm an expert in the way that a book is developed and it unfolds in the creative process of writing a book. That's my expertise. My writers are experts in their story. They're the expert in what they want to say and what they want that story to be. And so we come together with my knowledge of how a book unfolds and what the process is like and what that project is like, and the writer's an expert in their story and their voice and their words and their ideas. I'm there to support them and to make sure that they do the best they can do with that book idea and building up their skills while they write. So where did book coaching come from? It is, as I said before, a new thing. And the publishing industry has been in massive upheaval and change for quite a long time. The very advent of self-publishing and independent publishing and the ability to go directly to readers is very new. It's relatively very new in terms of the whole stretch of how publishing has traditionally been. So it used to be back in the day that traditional publishers did nurture writers, and that they would bring a writer on for their whole career, and they would help them through all those steps I talked about. What book should I write next? How should I craft that book? How should I structure it? Helping with the writing, helping with the entire process. That was back in the day, the Maxwell Perkins day, who he was the editor for Fitzgerald and Hemingway, and he took those writers under his wing and nurtured them up and really guided their entire careers. And that time of publishing is long gone. Traditional publishers no longer have time to nurture their writers. They're largely looking for finished manuscripts that can go right to press. There's a hunger for the next big hit and the next thing that's happening. And I've spoken to traditional publishing editors who often edit up to 30 books a month. They have on their plate that many books, and there's just no way to nurture the writer while they write when that's going on. There are still some editors that do this. There are some agents that do this. I'm not saying nobody does, but in general, this nurturing has been squeezed out of the process. And what that means for self-publishing writers is they of course have to nurture themselves. They have to bring together all the resources and people and elements that they need to do their best work. It's all on them. They become what the publisher used to be, and they do all of those jobs their own selves. And it's really important not to ignore this part about nurturing yourself. That is a critical part to writers who are taking themselves seriously and trying to really make a career out of their book publishing. So, what that means is that there's a huge opportunity to help writers in this way. There are so many businesses that have sprung up to help writers throughout the entire process. Most of them, the vast majority of those businesses, help writers after the book is finished. So, that would be editors and copy editors and proofreaders and everybody that helps you produce the book, to actually physically produce the book either as an ebook or a paper thing, and people who help you market the book and connect with readers. Those are the most of the services are on that side of the equation. And what a book coach does is work on the side of the equation before the book is done. And we're one of the only businesses or people that do that. There's just vast numbers of help on the other side, but how do you get to that point where your book is ready to be published and ready to engage the reader? And that's what a book coach does, and that's the space where we're working. And there is massive opportunity in this space to help writers and to be part of their process of success. So what are the skills that are needed to be an effective book coach? At Author Accelerator, we have created this training program. We have brought more than 50 coaches through it. And we, for the last 5 years, have been pairing coaches and writers together. And we're really clear on what skills are needed to be an effective book coach. I've narrowed it down to 10. And I'm going to go through these one by one. This is the list as a whole, so you can take a big gulp of that. But I'm going to go through these one by one because this is really what's going to tell you if book coaching is something that you want to do as a side gig, if you want to add income to your book writing life and you want to stay within the world of books to make that income, and you have some of these skills, this may be a really excellent job for you. The good news is that a lot of the skills that you may not have are teachable. That's a thing we have proven at Author Accelerator, is that you can teach these skills. Well, some of them. Okay, so the first one, the love books. This is not a skill that you can teach. This is just a thing you have to have. Book coaches are working with books. That's what we do. We're helping books come to life. We're helping books get written. And there is no reason to be a book coach or to think about this as a side gig or profession if you don't love books. You've got to love books. And you've got to know books. You've got to read books. You've got to understand books. Books take a long time to write. These are all things that you have to know and love. And my guess is that if you didn't, you would not be listening to this presentation right now. The second thing is effective book coaches have to love writers. And this is a different thing because writers, as you are probably well aware, are not I was going to say not normal. What I mean by that is writers are a special breed. The idea of bringing a story or a book or an idea into life through the written word it's not something everybody is called to. It is hard work. It is work that is filled with doubt and angst. It is work that takes a long time. Not everybody ends up making a lot of money at it. And so writers are, like I said, a special breed. And you have to, if you're going to be working with writers, you have to love them in all of their quirks and all of their ups and downs and all of their desperation. You have to love writers. That's what a book coach does, is work with writers. So you better love the people that you're serving if you want to be good at it. The third skill is an effective book coach is going to feel comfortable with the creative process. So that's a similar thing. The creative process is messy. It's kind of chaotic. It doesn't go in a really straightforward linear line where you do this and you do this and then you do the next thing. That is not how books are written. books are iterative. They go in circles around and around and around, circling back to an idea, circling back to a chapter, circling back to a character, circling back to an idea. There's a lot of circular movement, and sometimes it feels like you're stuck in a place and not going to move forward. And a book coach needs to be comfortable with that mess, with that chaos. They have to be comfortable. Like I often say, um, we're down in the muck of the creative process with our writers, and you've got to be comfortable with that muck, because that's what it is. And if you're the kind of person who wants things to go really neat and clean and on schedule and perfectly, this might not be work for you, because things often get confused in the middle. And your job as a book coach is to know how to move that process along, but it doesn't mean that you can move it along in a really prescriptive, clean way. So being comfortable with that chaos is important. The fourth skill is that a book coach needs to feel confident managing a complex project. One of the things that's often overlooked in book writing is it is an incredibly complex intellectual undertaking to write a book. There are so many layers that a writer has to master, and so many skills they have to know. And in this modern world where people are bringing their own books out in self-publishing, you have to also understand those elements of it, the entrepreneurial elements of it, and the production elements of it. And there's so many pieces to the mix of bringing a book to life, and you've got to feel confident managing that kind of a project. Now, if you're a self-publishing writer and you're already doing that with your own books and already learning the skills that you need and already in that mix, odds are really good you have a lot of these skills and you are managing complex projects your own self already. So that's the reason why book coaching might be a really natural step for you to take, because you're already a person who is embracing that complexity and working your way to understand it. A book coach has to have the ability to focus on details, really small details like words and sentences and ideas, tiny ideas, and then on the big picture of a book, and often at the same time. One of the things that I'm always training and teaching is this idea of lifting your eyes off the page, because it's really easy, and this goes for both a writer or a book coach. It's really easy to fall into just keeping your eyes on the page. And by that, I mean looking at the words, looking at the sentences, looking at just the minutia, the details, and failing to sort of look up and look at the horizon and think, well, what is this book going to be in a big scale? Where is it going to sit in the world? Who is going to read it? How are they going to connect with it? What is it going to be? What is the reader going to get from it? That thinking of the big picture and looking at the horizon is really necessary to write an excellent book. And sometimes writers don't have the ability to think like that. They're so immersed in their words and their ideas, and it's enormously helpful to have somebody who can both do that with them, but also get them to think big and think about the big picture of this book. And a book coach needs to have the ability to do both things. I often say that mechanical editing ability, just the ability to go in and clean up the sentence structure or the grammar, is only just the beginning. The other pieces often are even more important. I personally am an abysmal proofreader. For example, my Instagram posts are filled with, I forget commas, or I have dangling participles, or and I mean my blog posts, the whole thing. I am not great at the mechanical editing pieces of this work, but I am very good at the other pieces of the work, and that turns out to be far more important and effective. You can hire somebody to proofread, you can hire somebody to clean up that work, but you can't if you don't have the story that's holding together in a logical way and it's not fitting into the marketplace in an effective way. That's not going to matter. A really beautifully proofread manuscript is not going to matter if it doesn't have the other elements. So I'm always training my book coaches to think on that big picture scale. So you need to have the ability to do that. The sixth skill is an understanding of the marketplace. And I just spoke about this a little bit, this idea of how books are bought and sold, where readers encounter them, how word of mouth happens to pass a book from person to person and friend to friend, how readers, the habits of readers, how they're moving through books when they finish one, how they find the next and where they go. And again, where they're getting their book information and their next read. You've got to have an understanding of all of that, and it's changing all the time. The publishing marketplace is a very fast changing place right now, universe right now. There's just all kinds of new things popping up to help writers to connect readers and writers to discoverability of ebooks, just everything every day. And you've got to be able to keep up with that and to want to keep up with that. It's hard to help a writer achieve their goals if you don't understand the place where those books are going to end up. So that's a really important skill for a book coach. The seventh skill is you've got to like to teach or mentor one person at a time. Book coaching is teaching, it is mentoring. That's what we're doing. And it does happen one person at a time. So that is a really important thing to know, because you're not teaching a class full of people. You're not teaching an auditorium full of people. You're really connecting with one person at a time. And that one-on-one relationship is the bedrock of what being a book coach is. And you've got to be comfortable being in relationship with that writer, with that one person, and being a part of their life in it ends up being a really quite intimate way. I have some writers who are my clients that I've worked with for 2 or 3 years now, and you come to know somebody very well, and you come to know a lot about them, and you come to know a lot about their life. And if you're not comfortable with that, well, and the other part is they come to know about you and your life. And if you're not comfortable with that kind of relationship, book coaching is going to be hard for you. I find that a lot of writers, this is their sweet spot. They're best in a one-on-one situation. And when they find work that allows them to be one-on-one all the time, it's like, angels are singing. I find this especially true with the academic people who come into my training course. We have a lot of MFA students and professors and teachers who come to learn how to be book coaches, and they just are thrilled at this idea of helping one person at a time. So I find that this skill or element is a thing that people really love. They either really love it or they don't. So I think it's an important thing to know and to be comfortable with. The eighth skill is that an effective book coach likes to work alone. We work alone, most of us in our own homes, on our own time, and we bring our own motivation to the work, and we like to be in our heads in that way. There are days where I work in my house. Here I am in my house. And there are days when I don't leave my house. And there's days when I don't talk to another human being. All I'm doing is working on the page with people's work and really immersing myself in that. And you've got to like that. And if you're a person who likes to be among other people or collaboratively chatting or, solving problems, it's probably not the work for you. Now, that's not to say at Author Accelerator, for example, we have a community of book coaches, and we help each other, and we jump in and we solve problems, and we network, and we're there for each other, and we support each other. It's not like you have to be locked in your house by yourself all the time, but the work is done alone, and you've got to like that. When I said that there's some days where I don't speak to another human being, there are not many of those days. I'm speaking to my clients, or I'm speaking to other book coaches, or in my particular case, I'm teaching, or I'm, doing other things with people. So it's not like I'm lonely, but when I'm doing the work, I am doing it alone in a room. And that's the nature of book coaching, but it's also the nature of writing. So I'm not telling you something that you are not familiar with, or you don't like, or you don't already do, but it's just something worth noting. The ninth skill is that an effective book coach has to have the ability to step back from the emotion to protect themselves from getting too drawn in. So I said before that you work one-on-one with people and you have deep relationship with the people that you're helping, but you have to remember what that relationship is, that you are not their therapist, that you are not their friend, that you have to be able to hold yourself in a professional capacity. And when I say to protect yourselves from getting too drawn in, you can get too drawn into the writer's drama, to their own emotion and their own doubt and their own despair. If you work with someone for a very long time and their book isn't selling and they're beside themselves, you can feel that pain, you can help them through that pain, but you can't take that pain on your own self. You have to be able to set a boundary between you and that writer and you and the outcome of that project in a professional way. And the same is true also with what they're writing. In my career, I have helped writers on everything from stories about their mother being murdered to suicide to um, childhood trauma to divorce, to drug addiction. I mean, every human thing under the sun. And you can't get too drawn into the story either, or the topic either, and have to be able to protect yourself from falling into that. And there are times when you may not be able to work on a certain book because of the emotional resonance. For example, I mentioned that I recently, well, not recently, I worked on a book about divorce. It was a nonfiction book from a divorce attorney her goal was to help women going through the divorce process, to empower them. And I thought it was a beautiful and important book. But I am a child of divorce, and working on that book turned out to be very hard for me and very upsetting for me. And I decided at the end of it that I was not going to work on another book about divorce. I just don't want to. So that's a way that I protect myself from getting too drawn into the topic, is just literally not to do it. But you have to be able to have the ability to make that distinction. Number 10 is a book coach needs to be self-motivated. You are your own boss. You're running your own business. You have to be able to do all the things and learn and grow and keep on track and make tough decisions. And all of that comes from self-motivation. So if you're somebody who likes to just be handed your work and told what to do, this might not be work for you. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people like that. A lot of writers like that because they're self-motivated in their own work. Excuse me. And they don't want to be self-motivated in the work that they do for money to support that writing career. So you've got to make sure that you want to bring your own motivation to the work of being a book coach, and that you are a person who can do that and is wanting to do that. So what is not on this list of the 10 things? That is a huge question, because some of the things people often complain about when they say, oh my gosh, book coaching sounds just like my gig. This is my dream job. I have been looking for something my whole life like this. I just tick all the boxes, but I can't be a book coach because, and these are the things they often say. I'm not a published author. I'm not a best-selling author. I don't have an agent. I don't have an MNFA. Whatever thing that they're going to come up with is an excuse for why they can't be a book coach. And all of these things are not on the list of what makes a successful book coach, because they do not matter. I have trained 50 book coaches, and I've overseen their work, and I've seen them, what they do to help writers. And many of them were none of these things. And you don't have to be these things. It is not the same skill to coach and to write. And you don't have to have success as a writer to have success as a book coach. And it makes me somewhat crazy when people think that you do. We have a lot of really well-known writers in the world who are offering help to other writers and in workshops or courses or books or what have you. And they're not always the best teacher. It doesn't go hand in hand, being a successful author and being someone who can help writers with their own work. It is not automatically the same thing by any means. I want to share from an MFA student who is in the Author Accelerator's Advanced Book Coach Training course. Something she said here, because I think it really goes to this idea. She says, I like so many things about the course, but learning tools that allow me to talk about a book as a whole, in addition to critiquing manuscript pages, has been vital. I have an MFA, so I'm very familiar with critiquing pages, but with everything from story fundamentals to the hierarchy of editorial concerns, the course gave me tools to evaluate and discuss works in progress in far more efficient and successful ways. So this is such an important point because it goes to what I was saying. I'm teaching people how to be a book coach, not teaching them how to be a writer their own selves, and then they have to go figure out how to help somebody else. It's an actual thing that I'm teaching people how to do. Because as I said before, coaching is a different skill from writing. And at Author Accelerator, we've proven that it's a teachable skill. Book coaching can be learned. It is something that you can learn how to do better, learn how to figure out. As I said, we've trained more than 50 book coaches. And we actually came to our training program by accident, which I think is an interesting story to tell because it speaks to this idea. When I say by accident is I started hiring people to coach other writers. I was a book coach my own self, and I had a lot of reasons why I wanted to train other people to do this. Among them was I had a very long waiting list and I couldn't help all the writers that were coming to me. The other was that I saw how frustrated writers were with the way that writing is taught in most places. And I actually truly believe that one-on-one coaching is the best way to learn how to write a book that people want to read. I believe that to be true. So I wanted to make this more accessible to more people. So I started hiring people and training them to coach writers and matching them with writers. And I didn't know at the time that what I was actually doing was building this training course. I was training them for the purpose of having these people coach, not for the purpose of making a training course. But so many people began to come to me and say, can I learn your process or go through your training? I don't want to work for you, but I want those skills. I want that process. And I, for a long time, resisted that because I thought, well, that's silly. But over time, I began to see, oh, wait, that's actually a thing, and it's a teachable thing, and I can make that as an actual program and course. And so that is how we got to create this this training course. So the huge question people always ask is, if I invest in learning the skills of a book coach and learn how to do this work, can I actually make money at it? As we all know, it's hard to make money as a writer. That's just the fact of the matter. It is a hard thing. And even if you do make money as a writer, your income is going to be really up and down, depending on when you're launching a book or depending on how that book is doing in the world, or where the next book is, how long that next book is taking you to write. And having a side gig where you can have a more dependable income stream, and you can have a income stream that you're in more control of, is a very enticing thing for a lot of writers. And so the question is, can you actually make money as a book coach? So the answer is yes. And the reason is that writing education itself is a really big business. There's a lot of money being made in helping writers because everyone wants to write a book. The statistics that I often see are that 80% of adults want to write a book. That's a lot of people wanting to write books. And those people are spending money on learning how to do it. There's hundreds of writing conferences all over the world. There's many thousands of courses, both in person and online, to help you write better and learn how to write better and learn how to produce your book and learn how to market it and all of the things that you need. There are dozens and dozens of what I call famous author workshops, which are famous authors teaching others and bringing them together to learn and to grow with them. Usually it's like a week at a time, and oftentimes in a sort of exotic location. And those are very expensive programs, and they're usually always booked out. And then, of course, there's an endless stream of books on writing. And this is all just evidence that there is a market for helping people write books. And the reason for that is that writers are motivated. They want, I used the word desperate before, and I don't mean desperate in a bad way. I mean desperate in a good way. They're deeply motivated to bring these books to life. Writing for most writers is not, in some ways, it's not something they can even choose not to do. It's something that they have to do. It's like they're born to do this thing, and they can't rest until they do this thing. I often ask, well, not often, always, I always ask writers who come into my program to speak about why they want to do this work. Why do they want to write a book when it's so hard and it's such a long process, and the odds are not great that they're going to make money back, or make money, or be famous, or whatever the metric of success is. And the answers that they give me are so moving and so profound. And these three on this slide here are the top answers that people give for wanting to write a book. So they say that they want to raise their voice, to literally be heard. And this is not a minor thing. This is claiming your voice. This is having the confidence to speak. This is believing you have a right to speak. This is saying, I must tell this story, and I'm going to do it no matter what. And I have something important to say, and I'm going to be heard. It is shocking to me how many people have been silenced in their lives for a huge number of reasons, a huge variety of reasons. But people are silenced by their families, by their cultures, by their experiences, by whatever their internal critics. They often are silenced. And wanting to write a book is wanting to be heard. The other second most common reason I hear for people wanting to write a book is they want to make an impact. They want to have an impact on the people that read their books. It's not just that they want to write a book and put it in a drawer. They want to write a book and have it out in the world, where the readers are going to have an experience with that, and engage with that. And oftentimes when I push, well, why is that something you want? It's because the writers have been impacted themselves by books. Books have saved them. The library saved them. The bookstore saved them. A book that they pulled off the shelf saved them. A book somebody handed them saved them. And saved them, can be anything. It can be helped me find my way to my career. It can be help me understand my own head. It can be help me understand my family. It could be help me escape from a difficult situation for a few hours in my own head. There's so many reasons that books have an impact on us, and it can be education or entertainment or solace. I mean, just books are profoundly moving things for people, experiences for people. And writers are often called to write because they want to have that same impact on others. The third reason that people give for wanting to write is they want to claim their identity as a writer, which is probably a thing that they've dreamed about since they were young and had these experiences of being impacted. They want to be a writer. They want to be known as that. They want to have their place in the world as that, to put a stake in the ground as that. And claiming an identity as a writer is much easier said than done, because technically anybody who writes is a writer. But what people mean by that is something different. It means that they want to be part of the conversation. They want their book out there having that impact. They want to be known as somebody who did this thing, not just as somebody who talked about doing this thing. So these very profound reasons for writing are the reasons why writing education is a business, because people's motivation to write is this deep and this profound and this unshakable. These reasons, this is not just a thing that people want to do because they think it'd be cool or fun. There's usually very deep reasons that they're motivated, and therefore they're motivated to get help, and they're motivated to invest in themselves to get that help. That's the point that I'm making here, is that you can make money as a book coach if you can find a way to actually help writers. If you can actually help writers with these things, getting past these roadblocks that they need to raise their voice and make an impact and claim their identity as a writer. If you can do that and actually add that value to their process, you can make money. They will pay for it. They're out there paying for it already. And a lot of the things that they're paying for are not actually giving them the result that they need. A book coach can give them that. They can give them the one-on-one feedback, accountability, and support so that the writer can actually finish their book, can actually do this work. And what I found is that writers tend to come to me and my book coaches when they're frustrated trying to figure it out on their own. They usually come to a book coach kind of last. It's like a last resort. And that frustration and desperation, as I spoke about before, is very strong when they come. They usually, because it's an investment to have a book coach. So it's not usually the first thing they do. Oftentimes people don't know about book coaching either. And that's something I'm trying to change by spreading the word about what book coaching is, so people don't have to go through so many hurdles and be so frustrated by the time they find the thing that can actually really help them make their dream come true. But again, if people are frustrated in the world of business and marketing, what people say is that if there's pain, if there is a group of people feeling pain and you have a way to relieve their pain and resolve their pain and help them pass their pain, then you have a business. People pay for things when they need them, and they pay for things when they're feeling pain around them. So frustration in trying to figure out how to write a book that is worth reading is that kind of pain. And again, if you can help people do this work, if you can help them get over the things that are stopping them from writing a book, you can make money at it. So in my own coaching business, I help writers make their dreams come true. This is just a few of the books that I have helped writers publish over the last few years. And every single one of these people what came to me in that frustration, in that desperation, wanting help to actually make it happen. I also have, these happen to be all nonfiction books, and I have quite a number of fiction books that have done quite well as well. As I said before, I help in all genres, in both genres, in my own coaching business. So I am a full-time book coach, and I have been for quite a number of years, and I make six figures at this work. So when people ask if you can make money as a book coach, the answer is absolutely. And I am not in any way, shape, or form promising that anybody else can make that kind of money. I've been doing this for a long time. I have created systems and processes and strategies that are very effective and proven. I have a good reputation now, a strong reputation. My clients get results. There's a lot of reasons. I hustle really hard. There's a lot of reasons why I make a six-figure income and have for the last 5 years. And I'm not promising that anybody else can do that, but I'm just telling you that so that you know you can make money at this. If you can actually help writers and help them solve their problems, you can make money. And I will talk more about what you're likely to make as a new book coach in a moment. But first, I want to talk about why my writers are paying me. And these are some quotes from some of my clients, and I want to just share them with you because I think it really goes to that thing I was saying about solving their pain. So Carla says, "You were the worst," by which I mean the best. "You picked up on everything I've been struggling with. Even as I was working my way through the blueprint steps. I knew that I wasn't doing the best job writing everything out because there was so much I hadn't figured out. Thanks for pushing me." This is just an example of what I mean, of how I'm helping a writer get through that complex work of what they're really trying to write. Kate said, when I asked her what it was that I did for her work, she said, "Here was that yes, you can encouragement that my 10-year-old self needed. And no, not to try to write like Shakespeare, but to continue to wholeheartedly write just like me, to write myself into the truth. That's why people write, and that's why Jennie Nash is a genuine grace." I think that's a really lovely way of showing what a book coach really does, that it's not just about the words. This was helping Kate find her identity as a writer. And then Dan said, "Jennie did something more for me that will go beyond any book deal. She gave my voice permission to speak. This is something no one has ever done for me. I recently gave my first presentation on the subject of my book. I must say it was the best presentation I have given in my life. And the response were comments like this: Dan, I loved your passion. I've never seen this side of you. So thank you, Jennie, for giving my voice permission to speak. So this is what I mean when I say that the book coach is doing more than just the words on the page. We're really helping people come into their own as a writer. And as I said, that's why you can make money at it, because if you're actually adding value, if you're actually helping people, they are going to pay for that help. And the first cohort of students who came through Author Accelerators training program all had paying clients lined up at the end. We've designed this course so that that is going to happen. That's naturally going to happen. We teach people how to get clients. We teach people how to talk to their client. We teach people how to talk about the service that they're providing. We teach everything that you need so that you're actually helping that client with their pain. And again, that's how you're going to make money, is if you're actually helping writers with their pain. Now, notice that none of the things that I'm talking about here are promising a writer that they're going to get published. I happen to have a lot of writers who do, but you don't have to promise that. And in fact, I bend over backwards to tell people that is not a thing that I can guarantee. It is not a thing that's likely to happen. I need them to understand that, because that is not what I'm doing. I'm helping with these other things that help them write a book worth reading. But guaranteeing publishing, there's no way. Publishing there's too much luck and timing that publishing is dependent on, that I could never promise it. So I don't teach my students to promise that either. I teach them to help writers with the work itself, and with those things I was talking about: raising their voice, claiming their identity as a writer, and having an impact on their readers. So what we tell our students is that if you were working 20 hours a week as a book coach in your first year, we estimate that you could make somewhere around $20,000 in your first year. That is not a guarantee or a promise. It's just an estimation based on what we have seen. And the course itself, you could pay for with just one or two clients. So it's a pretty low investment to be able to earn some money at this work. Now, that is not going to be easy work. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. You're going to have to work and hustle for it, but it is entirely possible. And this is what we are seeing out there. This is one of our coaches, and she wrote this at mid 2019. And she said, this was a tweet, my editorial schedule is fully booked through 2019. Thank you to everyone who trusted me with your words this year. And special squishy hugs to everyone who recommended me to a fellow writer. Your references are freelancer's lifeblood, and I appreciate it. So this is a coach who booked out her entire 2019 schedule and is doing really well with her coaching life. So you can make money. That is what I'm here to say. And it's one of the things I teach. I'm an evangelist for helping book coaches learn how to price their work correctly, learn how to value themselves correctly. It makes me crazy when people don't do that, when they're giving away their talent and their time. I help Julie with this. I help a lot of people with this. And I'm on a mission to raise the bar for book coaches, both the professional quality of work that they're doing and also the way they value their own selves. But that being said, it's about much more than money, book coaching. And to go back to what we were talking about, what it is about is helping coaches learn how to help writers. So Kathy was one of the first students that came through our course, and she wrote me this email in October 2019. She said, I'm in the middle of a manuscript review and I just had to stop and email you. Thank you for creating the book coaching classes. It's the best feeling to read someone's book, know exactly what is wrong, and have the skill to communicate the issues in a way that will help the author fix the problems and remain confident in her writing. I've heard you talk about it as a superpower, and that's exactly how it feels. I originally took the coaching classes to improve my own writing. While my writing is better, I'm still blind to flaws in my own novels, but this ability to help others, that is something special. So that's what we're teaching people to do, is to help authors and writers see and to help them fix their work and to help them come into their own power. Sarah also was a student in that first group, and she said, "It's a feel-good kind of day. This is how an email to me started from a client whose first 5 chapters I evaluated. Your feedback is super helpful. It's clear and concise, and I love when you highlight the paragraphs that especially need reworking. I really appreciate all the time and thought you put into this, and I would definitely love to continue working with you. So thankful that all of the wonderful things I learned from Jennie Nash, Donna, and everyone else are paying off." That's the kind of feedback we get from our coaching clients. We teach them how to go out and do this work, and it is so impactful. And these are the kinds of notes we get all the time. Other benefits of being a book coach: you get to work from home, you get to be your own boss, you get to stay in the world of words and ideas all day long, which is, if you're a writer, the dream. The work is really satisfying. Helping other people make their best book and do their best work is very satisfying, as you can see from some of those notes. And you get to support your book writing with an additional income stream. A lot of writers need to have an additional income stream. That's a reality of what it's like to be a writer in the world today. And why not do it in a realm that keeps you with books and keeps you with writing and keeps you in that universe? It's a great benefit to being a book coach. And in fact, a bonus benefit of book coaching is that you improve your own writing. And we hear this a lot from people. This was a tweet from Ara. She said, "Wow, this book coach program is just wow. I'm only like 13% in it, but I think that using these methods just saved my own work in progress. I'm so gosh darned excited to learn more. Yay for unintentional progress." So we hear this a lot, and we're beginning to actually get a lot of writers coming into the coaching program, not because they want to be coaches, but because they want to improve their own writing. It's sort of like going to yoga teacher training to deepen your yoga practice. You come into writing teacher training to deepen your own writing practice, and we welcome students who are in the program for that reason. I think it's a great thing to do. So you can learn more about book coaching at authoraccelerator.com/Allie. We made a special site just for listeners of this program. You can grab there a free download of my book, Read Books All Day and Get Paid for It, The Business of Book Coaching. You can get information about book coach training and certification, what the courses are like, what they cost, how long they take, what kinds of people do them, anything you would like. And you can also sign up for a consultation with one of our Author Accelerator team members. It's a 30-minute consultation where we try to help you decide if these programs are right for you. It is not a hard sales call. I promise you, we don't want people in this program who are not right for it. That's not what we're about. We want people who are a good fit for this program. So if you're curious or you're wondering or you have questions or concerns, you can jump on one of those calls, get your questions answered, and make your decision if you think it's right for you or not. The people who are on those calls are my management team. They're my people. It's Diana and Terry and Abby and Whitney and Dawn and Jen, and these are book coaches. Some of them, there's themselves, some of them writers, our managing editor, people have been with me for years. They are sweet and kind and helpful, and you will just be getting on a call with them. On this site, you can also find a link to purchase a package of more than 15 hours of expert interviews that I conducted as a summit, a book coaching summit in January 2020. And these experts will just honestly blow your mind. They're people who are talking about making a career shift, talking about starting a side gig, talking about the how to make money as a book coach, talking about how to market yourself as a book coach, talking about what it's like to be coached, what it is like to be a coach, what it is like to grow a business, what it is like to go out on your own. The experts in all of these realms, and each of them are an hour-long conversation, and they're really just gold. And we have this package of videos priced at I hope is a low accessible rate for you if you want to really dig into what book coaching is and if it's right for you. It's a you can watch them on your own time at your own speed, and they're really fantastic. It was a fantastic summit that we did, and really some excellent stuff there. So here at authoraccelerator.com/Allie, you can get all of these resources and learn more about it. If you happen to, at the end of this presentation, think, gee, I want to book coach my own self, this is also the place we can direct you to how to do that. And what we do at Author Accelerator is we actually hand pair writers with coaches. So if you come to us as a writer, we ask you a series of detailed questions about your project and your goals and what kind of what kind of coach you're looking for, what kind of style you're looking for. If you're looking for, some really gentle guidance or some super tough love, we will hand pair you with a coach that we think will be right for you and that we know has room in their schedule to help you. So that's what we do at Author Accelerator is pair people with our coaches who we have trained. So jump on over to that page and see if there's anything there that is going to help you learn more and take the next step on becoming a book coach or hiring a book coach. And finally, I just want to thank you for listening and for hearing what book coaching is all about. I just love this work. It has been such a profound thing in my own life. I was an author of 9 books. I've written 9 books in 3 genres. I think I may have already said that. The first 6 were with traditional publishers, and the last 3 I published my own self. And I have not had writing be the center of my world ever since I discovered book coaching. I really shifted over to be a book coach primarily because it just used all my talents and skills and expertise. I love it so much. I like helping other people achieve their goals just as much as I liked achieving my own goals. I find it incredibly satisfying. I find it really fun. It's very soulful work, and I am making a good living at it. So it's a win-win-win all around. And I deeply believe in the power of book coaching and in what it can do for a writer and how it can help. I think it is the best way to learn how to write a book worth reading. And I've put all of my eggs in this basket of raising the bar for book coaches. So come on over to authoraccelerator.com/Allie, and you can get some of those links. So that is the end of the presentation. And as I said in the beginning, I hope if you sat through this whole thing and you're thinking, wow, I didn't know that sort of job existed. This was made for me. I am so thrilled. Welcome. We would love to train you and have you in our community of book coaches and give you the skills that you need if you don't have certain skills to go out and do this work and the confidence to go out and do this work. And if you, again, are thinking, gosh, I want a book coach, I need that, that's the thing I totally want to have, then we can help you with that too. Thanks again for listening and for giving me your time and attention. And I hope I see you somewhere out in the writing world very soon. Thanks so much. Bye.